Hi, Mark Zipp at Crocker Farm Auction, and I'm here to discuss a remarkable selection of Anna pottery by the Kirkpatrick brothers of Anna, Illinois that we'll be offering in our November 3rd auction. Several of these pieces came directly from a descendant of Cornwall Kirkpatrick, and they've never been offered for sale. And so we're very excited about that. The headliner of that group is this wonderful vase that was actually featured on the Antiques Roadshow. You can see it really is kind of a tour de force of applied and incised decoration. You really couldn't fit much more decoration on this piece. The handles are in the form of twigs with dramatic openwork leaves and heavy incising. You can see this ribbing to the center of the leaves and this heavy veining. This is all hand modeled. None of this was molded. The front and reverse have this very nice rose motif surrounded by leaves. The rim has this delicately done incising of a wavy line with spots. And then throughout the rest of the surface, just to make sure everything was covered, we have very nice incised floral motifs and vertical lines. And the flared pedestal base has incised lining as well. These incised motifs you can find on a number of the Kirkpatrick's better pieces. And you can even see this flower on a number of pieces, including the fair jug that we recently sold in our July sale. This example is actually signed on the bottom, Anna Pottery 1884. And it was featured on the Antiques Roadshow. I believe it was the Boise, Idaho edition sometime around 2013. And it's very exciting to offer a piece that made it on the Roadshow, that has that story to tell, that provenance. We've handled a few Roadshow pieces before, and it's always neat to see stoneware getting that kind of publicity on a national stage. This piece survives in excellent condition and is directly from the family, as I said. Another family piece is this wonderful spaniel. These spaniel door stops are very difficult to find. You can see just how big this is. This is larger than a lot of the spaniel door stops that you'll see from other potteries. And it's coated in a slip, a nice cream colored slip. It has cobalt highlights to the base and the face, the chain, the locket, and the collar. And this base is very distinctive to the pottery. You can see that it actually has this diamond-shaped cross-hatching going around it. Which is a hallmark of the pottery's spaniel figures, and there's not many of these known. Another vase or urn that we're selling is slightly larger than the first one I showed you, and you can see very similar in form. Very similar in form. A little larger, a little wider, but it has those same handles. Has a curved twig with leaves coming off of it. And again, it's got exceptional modeling of these leaves. You can see these deep scalloped marks going throughout the leaves. And this example is dated 1884. We're also selling, for the Kirkpatrick descendants, this great card, this CDV of Cornwall Kirkpatrick with his 3 children. And I don't think you can get that in the shot. However, it's a remarkable piece when we think of some of the most iconic stoneware, pottery related images from the 19th century. This ranks at the very top. Not only does it have importance being a representative image of the Kirkpatrick family with a large, wonderful piece of stoneware that they made, this pitcher with an incised image of the pottery itself, but it really gives you an idea of family life at the Pottery. It has a charming sentiment about it with the 3 children, the one climbing a ladder facing the pitcher's spout, another kid actually sitting on the pitcher's handle, and a third climbing out of the pitcher. The CDV is signed on the reverse, E.C. McGahee, photographer, Main Street, opposite Harwood's Drugstore, Anna, Illinois. So they had this actually made in Anna. We also received a number of great consignments by the Kirkpatricks from other sources. Of course, we have that wonderful snake jug in the sale, but we also have a number of very interesting things, several of which are new discoveries. This great flask, which could have been made by the Kirkpatricks or by a Kirkpatrick-influenced potter named Jacob Bockley in Texarkana, Arkansas, descended in an Arkansas family to the current owner, is actually being used in recent decades as a personal drinking flask. You can see it's closely related to the Kirkpatrick's shoe fly jugs. Has a woman at the spout, hand modeled. Her face appears to be molded, but the skirt and legs are hand done. And just like with the shoe fly jugs, she is not wearing any clothing underneath her dress. Has these relief images on each side of Elizabethan figures. This character with a plumed hat and a dagger, and then another character here, and then it says Hot Spring underneath the woman. This is an exciting new discovery. We recently were consigned this frog. You can see just how big this frog is. It was probably a paperweight or a doorstop. Here's a small damaged frog figure consigned by the Kirkpatrick family. This is your typical size frog. You can see this frog is just fantastic in its size. It has original cold paint over a salt glazed surface and glass eyes. This owl is another recent discovery. At some point it was converted into a lamp, so we've left that on here as a little hat. The consignor can determine what to do with it once he purchases it or she purchases it. This example also has glass eyes, and you can see just how big these whistles are. They're much larger than one would think. You see these in a book and you think, oh, it's a small handheld whistle. This is actually a substantially sized piece, and you can hear it actually sounds like an owl, which is remarkable. This says wide awake on one side and night operator on the front. And it's actually signed on the bottom. Anna Pottery, 1895. Made 5 years after Cornwall's death and only 1 year before Wallace's death. Lastly, we have 2 great pigs. One is the classic salt glazed form. And you can see it has fancy script, inscriptions all over it. And it says, by Anna Pottery, 1882. And it references the railroad route to the Black Hills. Lastly, we have this great redware example that is believed to be the only example of redware, a redware pig bottle known by the Kirkpatrick family. And we're very excited to offer all these things in our March, we're very excited to offer all these things in our November 3rd